Hey guys, Colter here. I just wanted to let you know before the episode started that when we recorded this, right after we were done, as we usually do, both the guys sent me their audio files. Dane's, for some reason, was silent throughout the entire audio thing, so I asked him to send it to me again, and it turned out that he had already deleted it. So we have no way of getting Dane's audio back. This episode does not have Dane's audio from his mic. So I want to let you guys know that I tried to boost the volume on all the parts when Dane's talking, or at least most of it. So it's a little better, but if you choose not to listen to this episode, it's fine. It's your choice. We still thought it was a pretty good episode, so we decided to release it anyways. So I hope you guys like it. Boys, welcome back to the Not So Subtle podcast. We here, we in the building.
Thanks for inviting us back.
You're invited back anytime, my bud.
I have a bed downstairs. I live here.
What's your name?
Dane LaPointe.
What's your name?
My name is Jordan Miller.
What's your name?
My name is Colter Potter.
Your
Welcome
name is what?
to
Your name is
Colter Potter.
Who? Slim Shady.
Slicka Slim Shady.
We were just listening
What's in
to
the
Eminem.
box? What's in the box?
Guys,
We don't know.
this podcast is going to be pretty special because we have a taste test coming down the pipeline.
Ooh.
You guys might remember that we had a bit of a debate which was better, Cheez Nips, Cheez Its.
Cheese nips.
We got two sides of the spectrum right here, so to speak. State your name for the record.
My name is
It's Cheez It.
is Guy Fieri.
And I love Cheez Its.
Go ahead.
And Cheese Nips killed my dad.
Fuck, man.
Therefore, I only eat Cheez Its.
So you enjoy Cheez Its more.
Yes. 100%.
And in this corner.
My name is Jordan Miller, and I honestly 100% prefer Cheese Nips over Cheez Its.
You like the nips.
You're a contrarian.
I love the nips.
We're all contrarians here, and I am in the middle. I have no opinion. I've eaten both of these before, but I don't remember which is which or care.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, so we also have another taste test, just because the only other thing I could think of when we were at the store that like looks alike and that could be like easily compared is chocolate milk.
The obvious answer.
The obvious answer. You all thought of it before I even said it. So we have Darigold 1% chocolate milk, and we have Nesquik 1% chocolate milk with the bunny rabbit on it.
The old
The
Nesquik.
bunny rabbit.
Do you guys have any thoughts about that?
I don't care.
I was just about to say, what just popped in my head really, that it's odd that we picked Nesquik with the rabbit because it coincides with our film of the week, Donnie Darko.
Guys, we watched a film as we do every week, and today it was Donnie Darko. Now, this movie was a piece of work, but we're not going to talk about that yet.
No.
We're
But
going
we
to
will
get heated.
soon.
All right, so should we start it off here? We got two of these cups.
Ooh.
Audio listeners, you're getting a special
You're
treat.
getting a 4D experience here. Crack open a bag. Crack open a bag of.
Actually, that won't work because it's not spatial.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Or is it?
so okay, each one has a number on it. We have, for the audio listeners, two cups here. One of which is Cheez Its, one of which is Cheez Nips. We're about to try it. We're not gonna peep. We're not gonna look at which one is in the container. They taped it down. We had.
Can you just poke a hole through it? The top?
Yeah, I could just poke a hole through it.
Just do that.
There you go.
Right, so
Get your finger on
I'm
there.
about to taste.
Don't look at what he's eating.
The one in door number 2.
I won't look.
Here it is. You guys don't look, but try it. We all are gonna do this. I'm gonna take another. You guys can take another.
These are Cheez Its.
I mean, they're certainly not bad
Well,
by any means.
I was gonna say we shouldn't make any hypotheses before we try both of them, but it's fine.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we've tried door number 1.
That was number 1?
No, that was number 2. Okay, I did it in the wrong order.
That was the first door, but it was number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Listen, that's just how it works out here. It's just...
It's fine. This is live.
We're about to try the second selection. Audio listeners, you're loving this.
The second door, which is number 1.
The second door.
The first second door.
Okay, this one is definitely...
better.
Different.
You can say it.
I see that we have... I see that we have,
a competition here.
Some hypotheses here. Alright, so let's get in writing here.
Okay, the first one that we tried, which was number 2.
Yeah.
It's 100% Cheez-Its.
100% agree.
And they're better.
Also, no, they're not. Also, I will confess I may have had multiple bowls of Cheez-Its this week. So, I 100% recognize that taste because I probably had some yesterday. So,
I'm writing down the results.
It's okay to
you
go
liked
back.
One, correct? Door number, or not door number, but cup number 1.
I mean, I didn't.
Is that correct?
I didn't say 1 is better. I know 1 is Cheez-Its. Well, hang on. 2 is Cheez-Its. 1 is Cheez Nips.
All right, so 1. All right, I'm gonna say that.
What are you writing down? Oh,
I'm writing down what we prefer.
Guess?
Yeah.
Oh, what we prefer?
Yeah.
But I thought we were supposed to determine which one is which.
I mean,
well, that's the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. Because for me, it's different, but for you guys, it's the same. Okay. I'm gonna... Which one did I like better? Before knowing... See, this is good because I don't know which one is which. Well, I basically do because you guys told me. But I'm gonna say... I like the second one better. Or the one we did second, so number 1.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
Listen, Dane, taste them again. They obviously taste better. There's no way you can... They're so much cheesier. Come on.
Alright.
The other ones taste like burnt toast.
Let's get the verdict here. Let's get the answer key.
Give me a handful of these cheese nips.
It does taste more like cheese, but I like the experience of the first one.
So
what's in the box?
For you YouTube viewers, they chose to go extra with it and wrapped up the results in a nice little present for us.
Right.
So now I'm gonna whip out my
wait,
knife.
Your kind of
He said that for the chocolate milk it was underneath.
Oh,
so
okay.
I think
so
it should.
For sure, it's just the cheese stuff in there.
I'm not 100% sure. Should we just do the chocolate milk?
Yeah. Might as well.
All right.
Everyone pick the one on the right.
All right. One on the right first. They're probably different for each one of us, so.
I'm sure they are.
Okay.
All right. Audio listeners.
That's some chocolate milk right
you're
there.
Loving this. That is chocolate milk. I liked what I had.
I'll say I liked what I had.
I'm 100% positive that I'm going to look at it right now and see what it is.
What?
Don't do that.
Oh, no?
No, because you're supposed to say which one you like better, or like which one you think is which.
Let's go for the second one now.
Okay.
I guess you could have done it after the first one, and it would have still made sense, but...
Oh, yeah.
Which one was the more bubbly one?
I think my second one
was... Which one was more bubbly for you, the first or second?
Yeah, first.
Okay. Alright.
Are we going by Colter?
We'll just do right side as 1, left as 2. So, Dane, which one do you think was which one do you think was number 1?
The clear choice out of these two for me was the left one, which is Darigold.
Okay, so the right one was Nesquik.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan.
I'll say right now, I'm not an expert on chocolate milk. I did enjoy the first one I drank, which is the one on the right, more than the second one. I'm assuming that one is Darigold. Based solely off my guess here is because the second one tasted really artificial. The first one tasted a little bit more like real milk, to me at least.
So, in layman's terms, one is which?
One, which is the first one I had on the right, is Darigold.
Okay. And two is Nesquik. I'm going to give it one more taste here. And you guys entertain them?
I'll have you guys know, I just bought a new keyboard for my computer.
What did you buy?
Bear with me. A Razer Black Widow Chroma V2.
I see you're going all Razer.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my mouse, so I kind of wanted to... I can get them to sync up.
I think I'm going to order that Corsair hard RGB trackpad, medium size.
My other...
Because I'm already in the Corsair game.
My mouse pad should have come in today. I'll give you guys a brief review when I use it. Colter, what'd you think of that? A second go there.
I actually think my number one was Nesquik, and my number two was Darigold, which I think is, well, we kind of have our guesses which one is which. I feel like me and Jordan's are aligned the same, and yours are switched from what ours are. So you guys chose in line with each other, and I chose the opposite of what you guys chose. But now we're going to figure out which one is which.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up your right cup.
Okay. We're going to pick up your right cup.
Darigold. Got him.
That's quick.
I was incorrect. Okay, so yes, you guys were both right, and I was wrong, right? This was D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. The second one?
The second one says D.
The second one does say N.
All right. Yep. So I was incorrect. You were both correct. Good job.
I feel proud of that because, like I said, I don't drink chocolate milk a whole lot. But I could definitely tell Darigold is a renowned milk brand.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely tastes more like real milk.
Now, I'll be honest. I drink not a lot of chocolate milk, but more than you guys probably. So I knew instantly just by looking at it that the bubbly one was Nesquik.
Yeah, that was my first nation because it's more artificial and chemical-y.
Yeah, and like I've poured a lot of glasses of Darigold in my day. Never bubbles on top. Only for like a brief little bit after you pour it, but then they're gone.
How much chocolate milk would you say you drink on a weekly basis?
On a weekly basis, I mean, it's not like I'm always,
You're just chugging them down, just double fisting them?
I'm not always stocked up on milk, like, on any given week. But I would say, like, at least maybe, like, a carton a month.
Okay.
1 or 2 cartons a month. 1, probably.
Mm-hmm.
On average.
The second one was kind of, like, separated a little bit. Like,
you can, like, taste, like, the
grit
a little bit?
Yeah, gritties. Yeah. Little kind of crispies.
Which is probably the Nesquik, right?
Yeah, it is the Nesquik.
Because...
the powdered Nesquik. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, because I mean Nesquik, is it just, do they use real milk when they, when it's in the...
I mean, they use real milk.
Sure they do. It's just probably like the chocolate part is where it comes in different. Also, Darigold probably has like a different way of making
They use the chocolate cow.
They use the chocolate cow, yeah.
A different way of making their milk, you said, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean...
It's like real milk.
Yeah, you guys have had different brands of milk. They sometimes taste different.
They have, like, Lucerne and Darigold.
Yeah.
And
store brand milk.
Yeah, like Safeway milk.
There's
or
lots
like
of milk.
Joe's milk or whatever. I don't know. I usually go Lucerne.
Mm-hmm.
But for chocolate milk, it's Darigold. Well, actually, the best chocolate milk that I've had ever is probably Twin Brook Creamery. Comes in like glass jars.
I think I've seen that.
It's really good.
Do you think that's Washington local?
I think it is. Or Oregon.
I just doxed us.
Washington, D.C., you meant.
Yeah, because we live there and not Washington State. That would be weird.
All right, well,
maybe Idaho? I don't know. I think it is local, though.
We actually live in Russia.
Let's pop open that box and see which one of these... Well, we know. I'm 100% positive in my guess.
Get out the knife
I'm
here.
very confident.
We're now about to see the results of the Cheez-Its versus Nips.
One more time. The cup labeled 1 are Cheez Nips. The cup labeled 2, Cheez-Its.
In Jordan's opinion.
Factual, actually.
That's factual, yeah.
Repeat it again. You said one is
Number one is it.
Nope.
No, number one is
Nips.
Oh.
Number two is It's.
This is It's. This is Nips.
Okay.
The cup labeled one. That's not the first one we ate, but the cup labeled one.
Which was a mistake.
We
We should have gotten one, too.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Here are the results. I guess they wrapped it up.
Holy moly, that's a lot of work.
This is ridiculous.
Now we know why this took so long.
Yeah, this is like long ass time. I was like, how? They're literally just putting like.
And the award goes to.
We're like, just put it in cups. Is it?
What if they did like
in an
same?
envelope?
It's in an envelope,
Are we about
guys.
to get trolled?
It's actually in an envelope.
What
if
say?
they did the same in each one?
Do you have a paper cutter?
What does it say?
Do you have an envelope opener?
The results are in.
One.
I don't have an envelope. An envelope opener.
Why does it say the result?
I'm having a stroke.
Have it. Dude, there's so much toast. Do you
Why
have an envelope opener? Oh, hey.
Why does that say the results are in one?
No, it's an exclamation point.
It's an exclamation point. You saw some real stuff that Dane just said on a regular. He does stuff like that on a regular basis.
Can you not point that knife at my face?
He's much nicer on the podcast.
That's for
He's
sure.
a rude man. No, I'm just kidding.
He is.
I love you.
Oh my god, okay.
Wow.
Wow,
Dude.
I just threw that perfectly without looking.
Not bad.
People who are listening to this on the audio version are like, what is it?
God,
What's the
I'm
answer?
so sorry. We're
And,
about to get into some stuff. Just look at the topics if you want to skip
honestly,
this.
there are like 50
Don't skip this,
papers here.
though,
Okay.
You want to know the answer.
All right, so say again what you thought, and I'm going to say it.
Cup labeled number 1, Cheez Nips. Cup labeled number 2, Cheez Its.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay! Good job! Woo!
I felt confident I would know. I'm 100% confident that Cheez Nips are the better cracker.
I'm 100% positive that Cheez Its are better. I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
While I was eating it, I thought I had... So, they both picked in line with what they had previously thought was the correct one. I picked number 1, which is Nips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're different, but equal. Separate but equal. The Cheez Its have...
They're more fun to eat.
less taste.
They're burnt. They have a little bit of toast on them. The
What do you
Cheez
guys
Nips.
think? What do you like better? Did I just spit on my mic?
Please tell us.
If you guys have an opinion on which one you like,
Which you surely do.
hit us up in the comments or on Twitter.
And listen, I know a lot of people are probably gonna be like, oh, the obvious answer is Cheez-Its. You probably haven't even had Cheez Nips before. Literally just try them and you'll be like, oh, these are actually like...
No.
If I had to choose one, it's probably Cheez Nips. They taste cheesier.
If you're going to try them, definitely try them next to each other so that when you throw away the Cheez Nips box, you at least have Cheez-Its to keep you company and keep your stomach satiated.
Cheez Nips, not only cheesier, for like the same price, you get more. Look at that box. It's bigger. Also,
No.
they're cheaper, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, come on. They're just all around better.
No, Cheez Nips are bad.
You can't say they're bad. Come on.
They're bad. They don't taste good.
You're insane. You're just saying that to be a troll. It's
I'm
alright.
not.
Just
I'm really
stop.
not.
It's okay.
It does taste more like cheese, but it has less flavor overall than Cheez-Its.
Now you're just making up words. It's just...
No, I'm serious. When you eat the Cheez-It, it's like an experience. It is a little more fluffy. It's a little airy. It's a little crispy.
You're making just nothing here.
That's what it is.
You're a marketer.
Look, you can look at these.
You're an advertising agent.
Guarantee you pull one out. It's going to look burnt compared to the Cheez Nip. I can already see it. Look at it.
So...
It's burnt, roasted.
The Cheez-It...
It's burnt.
The Cheez-It clearly...
Jordan maintains that each
fluffier.
Cheez-It is burnt.
They're charred.
Oh, they're blazed in a blizzle. All right.
Fablizzle, my nizzle.
So,
so much Cheez-Its or something.
Jordan is a nip head, and Dane is an it girl.
I'm a nip tuck.
They're nip tuck. Wow.
You're a nip slip.
That's a deep cut, if you will. I got these coming all day. Come on.
Wow.
I can't say that I heard what you said. I'm sorry.
Well, see, first I said nip tuck, which is a show about plastic surgery.
Okay.
A lot of cutting, knives.
A lot of
And I
cutting.
said, hey, it's a deep cut. Boom. Got him.
Scalpel.
Scale.
Scample.
Hand me the scalpel.
Scample.
All right, guys.
That was good. I like that.
That was good. That was a good little test. You guys knew immediately which one was which. I'd be more curious to do more where we have no clue.
Yeah.
but there's not a lot of those. Suggest something, guys. What should we compare?
What should we taste test next? It doesn't have to be food.
We're not going to do it every time. But...
No, but it could be a fun way to mix it up a little bit.
How about you guys send us your local snacks that we can't find that are local to your region of the world? And then, you know.
And how will they get it to us, Jordan?
You can mail it to...
It's not so subtle at gmail.com.
Yeah, just send us an email that says you're going to want to mail stuff, and then we can hash it out from there.
Send us the Amazon link to that item.
Yeah, just tell us. We can hash it out. I don't want to dox us on right now.
Yeah, this isn't the time. All right, guys, so we got the movie section coming up here. We saw a movie today, a wacky film, but we also saw a movie the day after we recorded last week's podcast, was it?
2 days after.
No, yes. Okay. In any case, we saw Spider-Man Homecoming. Woo! This was... we've been excited, or I mean, I'm not going to speak for us all, but we've been anticipating this movie for a while. We've been talking about it. So, I'm going to throw it over to myself first.
Good segue.
I thought this movie was fine. I don't think it was the best Spider-Man movie. I don't think it was the worst Spider-Man movie, obviously, because there's been pretty bad ones.
That honor goes to Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, some would say Amazing Spider-Man 2 was worse than that. What do you say to that?
I haven't seen all of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but honestly... There cannot be a scene in Amazing Spider-Man 2 that's worse than the infamous scene from Spider-Man 3 that absolutely ruins whatever. There's nothing good in that movie regardless, but that absolutely tarnishes Spider-Man's legacy for... Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen Spider-Man 3, there's a scene where he gets taken over by Black Suit, like Venom.
Like the symbiote.
Yeah, the symbiote. And he just dances... in the street.
There's
and
a terrible musical
disrespects
sequence.
Women.
It's all around awful.
He abuses Mary Jane.
He does. It's not even like
he embarrasses her publicly.
Yeah, he publicly ruins her.
And he goes to a jazz club and like plays piano weirdly and like jumps around and like
and for some reason bad. Like when he like goes whenever he's evil he has like emo hair. He has like.
And he does the emo hair flip at one point. He's just like,
he does.
I'm too cool for this. Whoopsh,
yeah,
and just flips.
He
his
looks
hair.
like the lead singer of Panic at the Disco in that video with "I'm shining and I haven't you people ever heard of." Anyways, I Write Sins Not Tragedies, I believe, might be the name of that song.
That sounds right.
Probably.
Yeah, but enough about that movie.
Let's talk about another tragedy: Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It wasn't a tragedy.
Yeah.
So I think that this movie had quite a bit of baggage to deal with. It was the third reboot. It was not the third reboot, the second reboot. So the third franchise of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was like the millionth Marvel movie. So there's a lot of baggage there too. And then like there was just like, and there's comics before that they're like trying to live up to. So we had so many different types of things going on.
We also had to introduce Spider-Man into the MCU officially.
Yeah. So we had all sorts of worlds colliding, and it just needed to be a good movie.
Most importantly.
So, yeah, I think it showed that, and it was kind of a little bit messy. It wasn't as, like, bad, obviously, as, like, Spider-Man 3 or Amazing Spider-Man 2, but in my opinion, there was a little too much baggage going on. It wasn't that funny,
yeah.
I'm going to say. Oh, I definitely think this movie was for children. I'm going to say that. They advertise it on Disney Channel.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like, you guys have heard, and our listeners have heard me say before, I don't like a lot of the tones that the Marvel movies are going towards now. I'm like, when we saw Guardians, I was like, like, that's, like, you guys are starting to, like, pull, like, real Hollywood right now and get real, like, corporate, and, like, it doesn't have the same kind of originality and...
Guardians
like,
2?
Yeah, Guardians 2. And I was like, all right, Spider-Man Homecoming, like... I already didn't like Spider-Man from Civil War because I don't like that Spider-Man. I don't like that tone that he has. I don't like that Peter Parker. I don't like his attitude in that. It's too cheesy for me. And I was like, well, I hope this one kind of does something different and maybe shows him, like, get out of that. But from the get-go, the movie was like, I could tell the tone of this movie is not for me. Like, it was, like... what I dislike about Marvel distilled into a complete movie.
Yeah.
And then it just kept like that whole thing, like not great writing for me. The jokes were so cheesy. Spider-Man was super cheesy for me. I just couldn't deal with it. And the CGI is just not, even the action is not comparable to any of Marvel's like better action films.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, but that's true.
So yeah, I really liked it.
I think I'm alone on this one.
Dane, what was your opinion?
I liked the movie. Now this is where I get roasted for liking everything.
I didn't dislike the movie super much, just by the way.
Yeah, it's not awful for me, like, but it was boring to me, and also like that tone of that movie was I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Anyways, so, we want to give you your time here.
Well, I mean, there's not really much else to say. I mean, I liked it. I liked the high school feel of it. I liked that it felt more like a high school movie than it did a Marvel movie or like a Winter Soldier or a Civil War, because I don't know, like I don't know how they would have made a like dark, not dark, but like a more gritty Spider-Man movie when he's in high school. Like they kind of had to do a vibe like this, in my opinion, for them to really nail the tone of Spider-Man, because in most of the comics this is, and not to say they have to follow the comics, but in most of the comics this is what Spider-Man is. Like he's your not so average kid because he's kind of a dork and people like pick on him and everything, but then like that's also the kind of the thing where Spider-Man could be like Peter Parker is kind of his like costume, really. Like he's himself really when he's Spider-Man. Like, so I think it's cool that they explore him like becoming like a person and like being a kid, having to deal with like asking a girl to dance and like getting to school on time and like going to parties and stuff like that. But then also like he can like stop, you know, a helicopter with like his bare hands and like do crazy stuff like that. So it's cool to see them explore like real world themes, even though it is like kind of cheesy and like heightened, of course. But like it's cool to see them explore that side of stuff with like the Marvel movie stuff that we're used to. Because this was I feel like this movie almost wasn't for kids, because I feel like kids will probably get bored watching this. They'll probably be like, why wasn't Spider-Man swinging around more? Or like, why wasn't Spider-Man like slinging webs at people more or something? Like, I if I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was like a fair amount of Spider-Man stuff.
But even though
but there's a lot of Peter Parker stuff.
There is.
The Peter Parker stuff is probably better in my opinion than the Spider-Man stuff.
Him as Spider-Man, like the action in that did absolutely nothing for me. Like the
stakes didn't feel quite as high and it wasn't as well directed.
No, yeah, and like I just don't like people will have their battle where they're like, oh, I want Spider-Man to like just shoot webs from like himself and not have gadgets. I'm not a fan of the gadgets, especially not in this one where like his like spider sense was like an AI like in the suit, and like the suit is like an Iron Man suit. Why can't he just like, it's just there's so much like weird CGI that doesn't need to be in there at all, and just it just was not.
But there's also a lot of practical scenes where he's in the suit.
Yeah, standing still. He literally does not fight in every fight in there was CGI. There's literally no way.
Because he's an acrobat in real life. He does like he can do
he
jumps
dances
and spins and all that kind of stuff. Like he has videos of him like doing spins and jumps.
Every major fight was completely CGI.
Well, most of the ones with Vulture, yeah, but there's a lot of scenes of him in the suit too.
There are some scenes where he's like running.
I'd have to go back and look, but
even the very beginning when he puts on the suit, like that entire sequence of him like running through the buildings and stuff and like flipping around, he's all CGI in that.
There is a lot of CGI just because it's Spider-Man. I feel like you can't really avoid that. Like, even in Sam Raimi movies, there was a lot of practical effects scenes, but most of them were CGI. I
mean, how many situations are there in other Spider-Man movies where he's fighting people, like, practically?
I mean, I will make those same criticisms on movies now. Like, that, that's not what I'm looking for in the movie anyways. Like, those old ones are better written, better, like, they're funnier. Spider-Man is a better Spider-Man in that one. And also, those movies were made, like, 10 years ago, so I mean, yeah, of course, like, the special effects are gonna look like crap, like, regardless.
I would actually argue that Spider-Man 2 still holds up, because that is still the best Spider-Man movie, in my opinion.
Yes.
But it also holds up because they have a lot of practical scenes in there, because Sam Raimi is a really big fan of practical effects. Like, the Doc Ock scene where he's like destroying everyone in there. Like that entire scene is they actually made like those arms and they were puppeting them with strings. And like I don't even think there's a scene. There's a couple scenes in there like when he's climbing like the wall after kidnapping Aunt May from the bank or whatever, where it's like okay, obviously that's not real, but like most of the scenes with Doc Ock, whether it's close up on him, is just real like robotic arms and stuff. So I feel like those movies actually hold up pretty well. But to be fair, a lot of the Spider-Man stuff is CGI because he's like flipping around and doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, so that's just kind of a taste thing. I was gonna say to your point earlier about like Peter Parker and like his struggles or whatever in his own little life. I thought that was something that actually worked pretty well in this film. You feel like the pressure that he feels, like even if it's not like, you know, super compelling, you definitely feel the like his stresses with dealing with all this stuff. They definitely hammer that out.
Right. Yeah. Which is what I really like, because it's easy to watch these movies and have it feel a little bit soulless, where like you're just watching someone just
watching a computer.
Well, yeah, even like I would say Doctor Strange did that well to a certain extent, because there's a lot of like build up around him coming to terms with like the fact that he can't be a surgeon anymore and like learning the magic and like all that stuff. Like there's not that much action with him being Doctor Strange in there. Like the first like hour of the movie is just him like coming to terms with the fact that he's not a surgeon anymore. So that kind of stuff is cool. I like those movies where they explore like the human aspect of it, and that's also why I like Winter Soldier, because there is a lot of action in there, but they get to the bottom of what makes Captain America tick a little bit, which is I think just only helps the character in the movie. So I don't know. I really like this movie. I think I said this on the ride home after watching it, but I don't know if safe is the right word. But this movie felt very, like...
It was another Marvel movie.
It was another Marvel movie, but it felt very, like, orchestrated, or, like, very, like... I don't even know, like, not formulaic, but it felt like they were very, very, very careful.
Yeah.
It felt like another Star Wars, like, boardroom.
By the numbers.
Kind of, yeah, because they're, like... I don't know. There were some aspects of this where you could see that they were definitely trying... Because I can see what you mean, where it kind of feels like it could be for kids. I really only think that is because it's a bunch of older people clearly trying to like cater the music, or not necessarily the music, but just like the style of the movie and the editing and all that kind of stuff towards a younger audience. But I also feel like a younger audience would, like I said, would not enjoy this movie. So I feel like there's like they won't care about him like in his daily struggles with Aunt May, and like
I think they will, because they will relate to it.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think they will. I don't know.
I don't think they will, because
I'm almost 100% sure that kids would enjoy this film.
Well, I think they could. I think you're right. They could relate to it, but they probably don't go into a Spider-Man movie looking for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't profess to know exactly what kids want to see in a movie.
No, I would argue that kids would probably enjoy Amazing Spider-Man more than this.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say that something kind of weird to me, this is like a specific thing, was they kind of tried to like sexualize many different characters in this movie.
Aunt May.
Yeah, so the first one, most obvious one, is Aunt May. They already did that in Civil War, like set up that no one, like Aunt May can't be on screen without another character being like, oh, she's hot.
It's just the weird, like it was such a weird vibe to just be like, why is this, why is he have to have hot like Aunt May? What is the what's purpose is it serving?
If it's like trying to serve a purpose.
And also,
which
like,
it's
I
not.
felt like a weird sexual tension between him and her. Like I was just like, why? Like what? It's just weird. It's so weird.
Between Tony Stark.
Between Peter Parker and Aunt May. It's just it's so weird, dude.
I didn't feel that.
Dude, it's weird. The whole vibe of Aunt May in that one was just not okay for me. I don't like her.
Is she not actually his aunt? Is she like his step aunt or something like that?
I don't know.
No, she is.
So she's like related to him, like.
Yeah, but it makes a little more sense because in this movie, Peter Parker's supposed to be 15.
Yeah.
And she's like probably like 40s.
Yeah. So that was another thing, is that Peter Parker at several times during this movie just takes his shirt off gratuitously. And
he's ripped though.
So here's the thing: is that he's 20 years old, I believe, right now, and he's playing a 15-year-old kid. Now, by any stretch of the imagination, that is below the age of consent.
It's just weird.
So you're looking at this dude, and he's like ripped or whatever. It's obviously played for like sexual.
It's like that's like
reasons.
the Captain America like take his shirt off and like, oh shit, Cap's got some guns.
You think
dude.
little girls won't like this shit? Tom Holland's taking his shirt off like gratuitously.
It's just
But he's of age.
He's of age in real life, but he's playing a 15-year-old character. Yeah, it's just weird. Yeah. If you think about it, it's weird. And that's also, like, as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, the second he took his shirt off, I was like, why? Like,
it's fine for him to take his shirt off, but
he's a freshman, or like what is happening here?
There's multiple scenes, and there's scenes of him just as in his like boxers several times.
Yeah, it's
for like a long time. It like lingers on his body.
It was just so weird. Like,
okay, well now we're getting into weird like.
Yeah. Anyways, no, I'm just explaining why it's weird, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
And then like the last one is just they sexualize Liz too, and she's playing a senior, so she's like either 17 or 18. And it's not as bad, but like the one scene is when she like comes out in her bathing suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when she's walking by, like you're like, okay, is it gonna show her butt gratuitously or not? And then it did.
Yeah. That movie has some weird just. The Aunt May one stuck out with me mostly because it just...
They tried to make it like a plot point.
It's just so unnecessary. Yeah, like multiple times, like when he's talking to like... There's a moment where he's talking to a guy in like a deli and he's like, oh, like... And this guy's like speaking in Italian. He's like, yeah, like this kid's mom is like aunt is like super hot. Is like the hot Italian.
Yeah,
it's like
just brings that up. Like that's the only notable thing about.
It's like wow, your first introduction to Aunt May is like she's the hot Italian woman. It's like okay, cool.
If you were asked to describe the Aunt May in this movie, you'd be like hot.
It's just it's so pointless, and I don't get why like that has to be done. But
it's weird.
Whatever.
I am kind of mad that they didn't go the appropriate and normal route of Aunt May, which is like Peter Parker's anchor in life.
Yeah,
they instead went for just
hip Aunt, cool Aunt May, hot Aunt May. It's just it's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean there are some weird choices in here. I think if anything, this sets up for a good second movie.
I would hope so.
I think it'll be interesting to see. I think Tom Holland is. I think he is the best. He's not as good as Andrew Garfield is as Spider-Man, because I still think he's the best Spider-Man in the suit. I think he nailed everything on that side of things pretty well. And I don't think he's as good of a Peter Parker. It's close to Tobey Maguire, because Tobey Maguire has that like everyman look to him, like kind of just like a nerdy, just like he looks nerdy and kind of geeky, just because of how he looks. And I also kind of like the way he played Peter Parker, kind of like not shy, but he's kind of just like a timid kind of.
Yeah, I appreciate his portrayal of like Peter Parker way more, because it's not as like cartoonishly like young and goofy and cheesy and like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 have cheesy ass parts in it for sure, but I mean, like this Spider-Man I was just like cringing so many times, just scratching my head. I was like, I can't deal with these jokes. Like they're just not funny.
It does feel like a comic book movie. Like this, it does feel heightened a little bit in all aspects, which I also kind of like. I think this is too. I mean, this is a terrible comparison, but this is closer to like an animated or like a DC Universe Batman movie, and whereas the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are closer to like the Dark Knight, where they're like like. That's a terrible comparison, but basically, like
you're really giving Spider-Man: Homecoming just the bottom of the barrel here. And
no, not in terms of quality, but I mean, like it's more comic booky. Like the tone is more like wild and outlandish, whereas like for Dark Knight or the original Spider-Man movies, less so Spider-Man. They're like kind of more grounded, and you could see how some of this stuff might happen, and how the villains could have like Goblin has his glider, that's like a real sciencey thing and all that kind of stuff. So, and like Doc Ock, the arms are, it's like another sciencey kind of thing, and seems like it could be real.
Yeah. I don't know. My like closing thought on this is that I feel like at this point I've come to like a point in my life where I'm just like, I don't know if I'm excited for a Marvel movie anymore. It's just they've become so just rote, and like they just play out the same way in each single movie, and like they're not going down a path that has intrigued me in the last like few movies that I've seen. And like if they just keep going this way, it's just gonna not like that. That's for sure gonna like just turn me off of them.
Now, to be fair, the remaining Marvel movies are all pretty out there.
Yeah.
Like Black Panther is gonna be a lot different than anything we've seen, I'm sure, just based on the cast and the director, and also just the fact that it takes place not necessarily in space like Guardians of the Galaxy, but on a completely other side of the globe than anything else. So that could be cool. Captain Marvel will be strange, I'm sure. Thor Ragnarok looks just wild. It could be another Guardians 2, like paint by numbers kind of thing. We'll see. But Infinity War, it's gonna be really good.
I hope all those movies are great, but
I think Infinity War is gonna be great.
I don't know if any of them will do anything special for me unless they're really like drastically shift their like style.
Well, I think Infinity War, just pure speculation, I think it's gonna be more like Civil War in terms of tone, not as much with the comedy. Probably closer to Winter Soldier, because it's the same directors. They're doing both parts, and I feel like there's not going to be as much room for comedy in those because it's pretty dire.
Are they still splitting it in two or not?
Yeah.
Well, there's room for anything if there's two movies.
There is.
They'll squeeze as much comedy in there as they possibly can. I guarantee it.
Also, there's going to be Robert Downey Jr. and Star-Lord. So they're going to be having some banter, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure they will, but I just don't think it's going to have the same... I don't think it's going to have the same problem that you have now, where it's like the...
Yeah,
really
I mean, it's not
cheesy,
the same.
It's going to be different, I think.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm excited for...
We'll see in 15 years when it comes out.
It's coming out next year.
Sure.
Last thing I was going to say is that... this is gonna be spoilers. This is like a big spoiler. So if you haven't seen
Spider-Man,
for Spider-Man: Homecoming, the movie that we're talking about.
Put the editor's notice.
I'm not gonna put an editor's note. I'm doing this so that I don't have to do that.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Anyways, I really liked the scene where Peter and Michael Keaton are in the car together. The reveal of him being the dad. What did you guys think of that?
That was my favorite scene in the movie, probably. Of like really that car ride. That
car ride was so good because it was actually like tense, and he like figures it out. Like it wasn't like ham-fisted, like, oh, smoking gun, like this is Spider-Man. It's just like he kind of puts together via like context clues that this guy is Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is just sitting in the back like
he's like, I'm fucked.
And it's like actually tense, and you're like, wow, where was this the whole movie?
Yeah, that was what I was like. That scene right there, I was like, yes, like this is like great. Like this villain who up until that point, I was just like, okay, well, this guy is just a faceless bad guy at this point. He has no like, he has his spiel of I'm doing this for my family, but you don't ever see like his family until like that moment where it's revealed that he's like the love interest, like father's like, oh shit, like this is like things just got like real here super fast, and it's pretty well done. I felt like, but yeah, that was definitely
I would say the
my
last
favorite
third
moment.
of this movie is very good.
I didn't love the like battle.
Yeah, it was hard for me to follow. I just didn't like that action. It was hard to follow like what was happening there. It was so like cut like fast. I was just I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I agree.
The action felt I think the way I would put it is that it felt less visceral, especially after coming off of Civil War and Winter Soldier, where you're watching everything mostly in camera. You're seeing people just get like knocked around and just taking some brutal ass hits, and it's actually just happening, or at least it looks.
People are actually getting hurt.
People are actually getting their bones smashed. No, like
12 people died in the film of Civil War.
A good example is the
snuff film.
Is like the elevator scene in Winter Soldier, or like pretty much any scene in Civil War, like where I guess where they're storming like the apartment building and people are like flying across like the staircase, and he does that like crazy jump onto the other building. Like all that stuff was just. They just did that, and it looked incredible. And you can see real people doing real things.
Yeah.
But then in this one, it's like, you see two computerized
basically
images
Transformers.
just flying, like, And it also wasn't edited or filmed as nicely as the other Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I will say that the part where the building like falls on him on Spider-Man, and then he's like trying to get out, but he like can't really do it. Good. That was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I felt tense during that, even though he's not gonna die or like anything bad.
That was reminiscent of a certain scene in the comics that I remember reading a long time ago. But it involved water. And he was like trapped under like rumble, and there was like water pouring down. And he was gonna drown, and I thought they were gonna go that route and do a little homage, but they didn't. But it was still good because I thought that his acting in that scene was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. Also, a lot of interesting cast in this movie. Tony Revolori, I think, is his name as Flash Thompson, the bully.
So I don't have any problems with the cat. Like like good on them for like making like a super like completely different like diverse cast in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it surprised me that like by doing that they didn't do Miles Morales as Spider-Man at that point. Like if you're gonna make every single character like a completely different diverse character, why not do it for Spider-Man?
Yeah.
But I guess you gotta...
Maybe it's just because they're not going the Ultimate Spider-Man route for the MCU.
I guess.
So what's his name? Donald Glover is in this movie. And apparently, according to the like comics, he's the uncle of Miles Morales, and he mentions his nephew in the like car scene.
Oh, he says like, "Oh, my nephew lives."
Yeah, he's like, "My nephew lives here." So that's a reference to Miles somehow. If you know the comics, like you somehow can put that together.
I never read the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, so I don't know much about Miles Morales, but
yeah,
I've heard he's a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because he's diverse and like
we're gonna use the word diverse.
So it like I feel like there's no right way to say that because nowadays like either they make like they could make like a Hulk movie and Hulk could be like Chinese or something and people are gonna be like, no, I won't see that because that's not my Hulk, that's not the Hulk I know, or like it could be any race or gender and people are gonna get angry. So now like I like to tiptoe around that because it's just. No one wins.
Yeah. And then we had Michael Mando, who was on Better Call Saul. He was at the very end of the movie with like the scar on his eye or whatever.
Scorpion.
Yeah, setting up that.
So what they were doing there is a setup for the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
Do you guys already know about Sinister Six? Yeah. Apparently in that scene, you could see a scorpion tattoo on him, which I didn't notice.
Who was this character?
So he was barely in like the actual movie part of it, but he was like kind of a Mexican looking dude
who
talks to
at the end of the movie.
At the end.
Okay. I was like, this is like a weird like not end of credits scene, which I walked out of, but it was like I was like, who is this guy like right here, like because they were setting up as like I should know who this is, but I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, it's a classic comics thing where someone that is an avid comics person would maybe know it.
Well, apparently the scorpion tattoo is supposed to give it away, but I didn't even notice.
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, I was just looking at his eye. I was like, wait, is that like supposed to be Kraven, like with the scar on his eye or something? How do you guys feel about that scene where Michael Keaton doesn't give up Spider-Man's identity?
It's interesting.
There's something cool there because he, after he just went in on Peter Parker, not even Spider-Man, just Peter Parker. He's like, yeah, I'll kill your family if you fuck with me. Like,
kill your family.
I'm gonna kill everyone you love. Like, he just threatens his entire life, and then Spider-Man decides to save him. It's interesting that he returned the favor by like intentionally keeping him.
I mean, they were kind of painting him as not as like a
mustache twirling
like tragic hero or anything, but he is definitely like he was trying to be like a sympathetic villain for a lot of reasons. Like, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for like the people that work for me. Like, and so I like that was definitely in his character to like pay the respect to Spider-Man and Peter Parker and be like, I'm not gonna just dox this guy.
I thought it was cool because they very easily could have just set it up and be like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, that Peter Parker guy, and then it's like, well, when they get out of prison,
the next movie is them gonna take him down.
It's and it's like, well, cool. When they did that, I was like, oh well, I actually don't know where this is gonna go.
But now it's just gonna be him for revenge. He's gonna go and kill him.
Well, yeah, probably.
Or will he join the Avengers?
I don't know, but the whole idea of the Sinister Six is pretty cool.
is that just that's like a squad of villains,
it's
right?
essentially like Suicide Squad, but for
but Marvel,
and they're just after Spider-Man.
Oh.
It's Spider-Man's. It's essentially like Spider-Man's most famous collection of his rogues gallery, all teaming up to kill him. It has Scorpion, Vulture, I think Shocker might be in there, or like Electro or something. Kraven might be in there. I thought Venom was.
I feel like Venom has got to be in there.
But they also confirmed that Venom isn't going to be in the MCU.
What?
Yeah, because Sony still has the rights to Venom, and that Venom movie that's coming out with Tom Hardy as Venom is only Venom.
Is that a Sony movie or a Marvel?
It's a Sony movie.
Yeah, it's like all fucked up now because
that's weird.
Sony still has the rights to Spider-Man, and like they're gonna make their own movies without Marvel.
Because really, all they did was like take the Spider-Man license over to Marvel's house for a weekend for a play date, and then now they still.
But now they're like launching their whole thing based on that, so it's like that's really weird.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
like
strange.
that.
It's just because Sony's too stubborn to give the people what they want.
Mm-hmm. All right,
It's
well,
upsetting.
I think we've given that enough time.
Yeah.
Our next thing is Donnie Darko. We saw that movie tonight.
Oh boy,
it was a trip.
It was a wild ride.
Is a pretty good way of putting it. So yeah, in this movie, there's a young man named Donnie Darko who he lives a normal life. He's a kid. He goes to school, but he also has
anything but normal.
some mental issues. It seems he takes like meds for his like I don't know, like schizophrenia or something like that.
I think we're led to believe it's schizophrenia or some sort of psychotic disorder.
Yeah, some problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole movie is kind of just like his kind of from his point of view, just weird psychological experiences in his life, and it's like an art movie kind of.
It takes place over a month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A month of his life. I'm gonna say right off the bat, this is by far the darkest and weirdest movie that we've watched thus far.
I would agree, and I wouldn't have expected that after seeing Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah.
But I knew, like, I had read about this movie before, which is why I wanted to watch it. I was like, okay, well, like, I kind of knew this movie was supposed to be like weird and dark, but I didn't know how like mature it was gonna be. And then like just like right off the bat, it was just like, oh, this is not what I was like. I was not prepared for like what is happening at all in this film.
Yeah.
It was just so like. It was like unnerving at so many points in the film that I felt uncomfortable multiple times. Like
it gets under your skin.
Yeah,
for sure.
it was just like it's. I wouldn't bill it as a horror movie, but there was definitely parts in there where I was like, oh, this doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah, there were a lot of moments in here where should we just talk about like should we just spoil the movie?
I think we can spoil it.
Okay, so if you haven't seen Donnie Darko, you clearly shouldn't be listening to this.
Stop now, go watch it, and come back.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil the entire thing. During all the scenes where they were cutting between like Donnie doing some crazy ass shit and like cutting back to one of them was like the PTA meeting, and then cutting back to Donnie doing whatever Donnie's doing with Frank. Every time they were doing that, they were playing like some really scary music.
Yeah.
With like this like kind of humming like thump of like a bass line. And like as that was happening, I was just getting like really uncomfortable because I'm like, are we gonna see something really bad?
Yeah.
Like, is something really terrible gonna happen that's gonna contrast with like an everyday kind of event of people who and I mean all those people are gonna be affected in one way or another by what he does, because at this point in the movie he's a celebrity because of the thing falling on his house, and like, you know, his friends think he's weird, his parents are concerned about him, like everyone at school knows that he's kind of an off kind of guy, so like no matter what he does, it's going to affect the people in the scene that they're contrasting with. And so every time that was happening, I was like, oh, we're going to see something like really bad, like something terrible is going to happen right here. And usually it did, but like I don't know, they had a really good way of building tension in this movie, and not even just in those specific scenes. It was like throughout the entire movie you're always kind of like, what's going to happen? Like
there were a lot of points where I was watching where it was like the scene starts off like kind of like okay and like happy and funny and normal, and then like just one thing happens in it, and then like the switch just like flipped for me. I was like, no, this is creepy now.
Yeah,
like,
this is weird.
This is weird now. Like, what happened?
They'll
it was
put
like
creepy music during like a happy thing, or like during a happy thing they'll play creepy music,
it's just
or
they're having like just normal conversations.
Did I say the same thing twice? Okay, I didn't mean to do that.
They're having like normal conversations, but like either the music that's playing or just the way it's shot is just like implying like this creepy, just unnerving just feeling through the whole movie, and it was like, I appreciate that. It was like, I thought it was really awesome, but it was just, it's so weird.
I really like the movie. It is it is stressful to watch.
It is.
It's just stress. I was under duress for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think this movie kind of rides the line between commercial film and art piece.
Yeah.
In a way that works fairly well. It's probably why it's like a cult favorite, is because it's intelligible while being like artful.
Mm-hmm. For the most part.
Yeah, and I think when you like go to a modern art exhibit or something like that, and you look at like art, you're like, okay, I see the individual elements of this and I understand it, but clumped together in this format, it's weird, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Right.
Which is exactly what this movie is.
That's a really good way to put it.
And at no point does it go in any particular direction so far that you like know
for
what
sure.
it is. Yeah.
Like,
that's the essence of art.
You might feel like at a point like, oh well, this is definitely going down a dark path here. This is like a horror movie now, and then it just stops and does like a weird thing. And it's like, no, now they're back to like weird, like trippy, manic, like crazy town, and it's like it shifts like gears just so many times during the film.
It fluctuates all over the place in terms of because I really like the way you put that. Actually, that was really well done, Colter. I really like that. Colter, I really like that. Colter, I really like that. No,
Colter, I really like
Colter,
that.
I really like that. No, I really do like that though, because I think there's, I don't want to say there's like 3 layers to this movie, but there's like the obvious.
How dare you say it?
There's the obvious.
It's like an onion.
The way you could put it is like there's the obvious parts where it's like looking at it on surface level. This scene is scary. This scene is heartwarming. This scene is comedic. This scene is like him, like standing up for himself and being weird and all that kind of stuff. But then on another level, it doesn't really make sense in comparison to like the last scene, like the scene before or after. But then on the last level, all of that stuff together probably means something a lot deeper than we even realize, or maybe anyone realizes, because it's so like there's so many pieces put together in such a weird format, and it's not even like very consistent either, because the movie jumps from like the creepy ass scenes with Frank, which are just incredibly disturbing and weird.
Yeah,
I don't think we said what Frank was.
So Frank is a dude in like a weird ass bunny outfit.
Creepy bunny outfit.
It's really creepy. Great. It's a real outfit, I think, that he's wearing. It looks very scary.
I don't know if there's any CGI. Actually, there is CGI. What am I saying? What am I saying?
There's definitely a lot of CGI. No, I think every scene with him wearing that is 100% real. And it looks very frightening. It looks sort of like
Spider-Man's fighting, it isn't even real.
Thanks, Colter.
There's a lot of toast.
Thanks for that.
Colter.
Really appreciate your insight.
Stroke.
Lols.
Yeah, it looks kind of like the masks from BioShock. If anyone's played BioShock, it looks like the Splicer masks in a way. Very tall ears and like a weird like black like demon face almost with like big teeth. And it's like all like it looks like melted or like
it's just really like a gross looking bunny.
It almost looks like it could be like a paper mache mask, but it looks like it's made out of like metal or something. Yeah. It's really weird.
But honestly, it kind of holds the movie together. I will say, it keeps it interesting.
Yeah. It's pretty cool because every time Frank shows up, you're like, well, this really could go anywhere. Like, he could say anything and do anything because it makes zero sense. And that kind of comes back to what I was saying, where like those scenes are clearly just out of this world, weird, like artsy fartsy, strange, like horror movie type stuff. But then they have the everyday scenes of him going to school and like dealing with like, his mom and dad and like his sister and family stuff, and then like the therapy scenes and all that kind of stuff. But when you put it all together, it probably shouldn't work as well as it does.
Yeah,
like
and
the parts as a whole, it's great, and the parts by themselves viewed individually are really good too. But they
They shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be.
But they somehow are.
It should be bad, but it actually works.
I really liked it. Even the end of the movie kind of like goes a little like crazy really fast, but you're like so much stuff is happening so quickly. It's just like, oh, here's like this weird like talent pageant, and it's generally pretty happy, but also it keeps cutting to him like burning a house down, and it's just like, what's happening?
That's
and
what
then,
I'm talking about, where you can never be fully comfortable with anything that's happening because like there's either an underlying like song or like editing technique they use, or just cutting back and forth to like a scene of just legitimately bad things that are happening.
And also like they do just like so many weird like just super quick turnarounds on a character, like that Jim Cunningham is like presented as this weird like goofball like commercial motivational guy, and it's like he has the cheesiest videos that are like so good. He's just like, don't let fear like take control of you, and it's just like it's the cheesy like 90s like VHS videos, and they're awful. But then he's just like, oh, and also he's like a child predator at the end. It's like, whoa, like
holy shit,
they just like completely like turned on this guy like so quickly.
Kitty porn dungeon.
Yeah, they use that term. Also, like Colter's like, that's like such like a bad like weird thing to say, and then when the characters is just like
they're like, oh, we had a kitty porn dungeon.
Yeah, like, no, don't say that, don't say that.
Tonight at 7, more on the kitty porn dungeon.
It's bad. But yeah, I don't know, that movie, I enjoyed it.
I really liked it.
Again, I'm a sucker for like the psychological, like horror kind of. I would call this movie like psychological horror in some parts, and I think it does it really well.
So this is going to be a challenge for all of us. What happened in this movie?
So,
like, actually though, like, what do you guys what did you take away from this movie? When the movie ended, how did you feel about the ending? Like, what do we think transpired in this movie? Like, what does it all mean?
It's hard to say because it happens like so suddenly at the end, but I feel like what I was able to pick up throughout the movie was that obviously it's about time travel.
Right.
So like you kind of knew like, okay, well, he's like seeing time travel. He knows kind of like what's happening.
Yeah.
That's got to play some part in it. And then you see Frank, who you imagine is just like a hallucination at some point, and then he starts getting into the real world more, and it's like, oh, where's Frank? And it's like, wait, who are they talking about?
Yeah.
Who's like, is this actually Frank? Is this Frank the bunny? Is this Frank like some random dude?
Yeah.
And then like you eventually see him like get out of the car. It's like, wait,
that's just
is he
Frank.
real? Or like what's happening?
Yeah.
And like
I think he is real because
he is definitely.
Yeah.
And then like, and you see like there's a point where he takes off his mask and like has this like messed up eye like in the movie theater.
From the knife stabs in the.
Well, that's what you assume, but that's not what it is, because in the movie theater like he pulls off his mask and you see it's a real person under there with his messed up eye.
Yeah.
And then
I guess it's both. I didn't even think of that.
That's what
knife stabs.
I think that's what you're trying to like think about at first.
He stabs it into the.
Yeah, but then at the end of the movie, when he's in the car, he gets out of the car and runs someone over. Donnie shoots him, and he shoots him in the eye. Like when he's on the ground, his eye is like has a bullet hole in it. So like, okay, well, there's like the time travel is like beginning to like come back around on itself.
Yeah.
And the fact that his mom is in a plane at the end, and there's like a plane in the beginning that falls on his house or whatever.
So I think like one of like the questions like you're supposed to think at the end is like, did that stuff like actually happen? Did it?
I think
did it like reset it? So did the timeline reset? Like what actually happened there? What do you guys think?
There's contradictory information for every theory that you could have about this. So I don't think there is like a real answer, and as with much art.
I'm perfectly acceptable with that. Like I don't want to know exactly what transpired. Like
no, I don't either.
I feel like that would ruin it, because as we're saying, like Taken by itself, like each part by itself is like really cool and interesting, and then as a whole you're like, oh, that was so weird and like crazy, but like I don't want to dig deep into it and figure out like the timeline, like what's happening there. Like I enjoyed what was happening just by itself, and how it ended is like, it is like an ending. It's like a solid ending to the movie, and there's no like, you're not like, oh, is Donnie gonna like go back in time and like rewrite everything? It's like it's over.
So yeah, one of the first things that I thought of, maybe just as a like analyzer of movies, the first thing I thought of at the very end when they were, or after it ended, I thought back to when they were showing they show the engine crash and kill Donnie, and then they cut to like every main character that interacted with Donnie, like like fat girl that was
I
really random.
really wanted to bring that up. The fat girl like shows up like 13 times.
I hate to say that, but it's that she's just the fat girl. Like she's just.
That's her character. Yeah, is that she's a fat Chinese girl that's like an outsider.
Yeah.
And she's played for laughs in some situations, but also she shows up in really serious situations.
Yeah.
And you're like, why am I seeing her again? She has no plot.
She had
reason
a crush
to be
on
there.
Donnie Darko.
Yeah. Yeah. But also.
And he also says to her like everything will work out for you one day, or like everything will be better for you one day, when she runs away and he takes like her earmuffs or whatever, and then
but we see her in so many more scenes that have no meaning whatsoever.
No, I know, but what I was gonna say is that like when they cut to each of those, and I don't remember all the characters that they show, but they show like most of the main characters that interact with Donnie like in general, like they show his teacher, they show like his mom and dad, obviously, like stuff like that. But the first thing that I thought of is that, that what she says, what the Chinese girl said to him, kind of supports this. That everyone that they show, and just in general, everyone's lives are bettered by the fact that he's dead, because
which is depressing to think about. But
it is, but like when that's the first thing I thought of as like the message or whatever. Like, oh, he kind of like negatively impacted a lot of people's lives with all these things that he did, and also positively in a way too, because he. I guess exposed the child predator dude and stuff like that. And
his like girlfriend, like he was there for his girlfriend.
Yeah, and so I guess it was showing in a way. It was showing like how much one person can affect like time, in the sense that like how time and like him being there can affect people, like actual people's lives and like events in their life. So I don't know, if I was going to take away like one thing, that's the thing that stood out to me the most, because like his girlfriend will be worse off probably. The fat girl maybe would be better off in a way, because maybe not.
He was the only one that cared about her, really.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I would have to dig deeper into this because it's still swirling around in my head, but I think it's interesting that they cut to all those people as he's dying, because it's showing how they're all going to be affected by it in one way or another, but without explicitly saying it. They don't do like, oh, and 7 years later, like so
this is what they're up to now,
kill themselves because they were so sad about Donnie not being there or something like that.
American Graffiti.
Yeah, where they just do an unnecessary.
Two of them are dead.
Yeah, to the point of their death.
Yeah.
Where are they now? In the ground, 6 feet under.
Oh, they're heroin addicts.
That's the most notable thing about their life up to this moment.
They're addicted to heroin. They're just useless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I posted that tweet on our Not So Subtle page of the VeggieTales tomato confused man, which is about how I felt after viewing this. I was just very like, kind of it makes you like look inwards a little bit. Like,
I felt
a little disturbed. Like, it's. I think a good movie leaves me thinking a little bit, leaves me with various conflicting emotions, and entertains me, and I feel like this did all that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm definitely going to be thinking about this movie.
Yeah.
More than just a few minutes after watching it.
I think I've said before, but what makes a movie like great to me is when it can like invoke a feeling in you, regardless of whether that feeling is happiness or sadness or whatever it is. But like this movie like made me think, I was like, this is like, I don't feel good like about this. Like I feel bad like watching what's happening to him right now. Like, and it was, I felt like it was a very effective like.
So Saw is the best film ever.
Well, Saw makes me feel anger. So I guess
because someone made that.
I guess that's a great film then.
I guess that's the best film. All right, yeah. Well,
what are your guys' reviews? Scores.
So,
3
Ryans out of 4.
Boom.
I didn't want to say it.
But you did.
Yeah. I don't think that this is a cut and dry either 1 or 0 on the binary scale. I'd say that this is a movie that if you want to watch an artistic, like an actual art piece movie that doesn't necessarily follow any sort of rules. This is an interesting movie. Yeah, watch it if you like that. Don't watch it if you don't want to have your mind expanded and you want to watch Transformers.
This is not...
Or Spider-Man Homecoming. Boom, got him again.
This is not your...
It's in stark contrast to Spider-Man Homecoming, I will say.
Yeah, this is not your Big Bang Theory mainstream...
Of course not.
Sure.
And it shouldn't be.
No, I would say... If I had to give it a rating, I would give it 4.5 bunny masks out of 5.
Okay.
Bunman.
I feel like you're stealing my scales here, but I mean that's besides the point. I'll give this
done out of 5.
Well, no, he's talking about saying
I mean,
like
you know my thing. You know what it is, and you're stealing it. I'll give this 9.
And you're stealing.
I'll give this 9 therapy sessions out of 10.
Okay.
That's a high score.
That's exactly the same as yours.
Yeah.
Jordan, you clearly like the movies that are more
psychologically taxing,
or just not normal
depressing
plots.
Yes.
So you really like Pulp Fiction, you like Taxi Driver, Apocalypse Now.
Listen,
Scanners.
Scanner. Well, I mean, Scanners, yeah, but like especially Apocalypse Now, Donnie Darko, and like I've also said before, my favorite like TV series, Neon Genesis. Like all those movies revolve around like just like taking a story and not going where you want it to, and like but you have to follow it. You're along for the ride, and like it is forcing you to just accept it and feel like the way that the director producer wants you to feel, and like and it does a extremely effective job of doing that.
Yeah.
It just so happens all of them happen to be a little depressing, and you know what, that's okay.
If you could possibly just spur of the moment, what would you say is your favorite linear film that's just straight up linear?
John Wick.
Really?
Sure.
All right. Spur of the moment. I'm not expecting.
Listen, John Wick's a simple, good old time. There's nothing fancy about it.
It's
I'd say even that kind of subverts.
It's
what
cut
you'd
and dry.
think.
Look,
But
they killed his dog. He wasn't happy about it.
It's
He's gonna
linear.
kill a lot of people.
That's
Okay.
definitely acceptable.
How about John Wick? Yes, but I'll go with like Naruto. Like I'm a massive fan of Naruto.
It's not a movie.
It's not a movie, but I mean, listen, it's a art form. There are movies, but yeah, I mean, like Naruto is not an intellectual like masterpiece of art, but it's your boy hero takes on the world, and I like that.
What about Mad Max?
What about Star Wars?
Star Wars, obviously, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mad
Max also subverts. I feel like is not.
That's true, but that is also like it's more cut and dry than Donnie Darko.
Absolutely, yes.
Or Apocalypse Now, even.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's it for the movie section of the podcast. We're gonna get into some games.
That was a long one.
That was a long one.
We had a lot to say about a lot of things.
I feel like we had a good discussion around that.
Yeah, we're pretty much done anyways. So we're wrapping up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's it.
So first things first, we're gonna talk about real quick. I got my new PC. Jordan gave me, which is not. That's not correct.
Wait, what? That's the wrong music.
Not the right theme.
The theme for this one is "People, let me tell you about my best friend," and you know why?
Because that computer's nickname is Big Black in respect of Big Black.
Yeah. So I think you guys know why this computer's name is Big Black. Just kidding.
Do you guys?
No one knows.
But it's pretty obvious if you look at it, because the computer is huge and it is the color black.
Yeah, so for all you technophiles out there, it's a full tower PC case, which means it's like as large as physically possible. It might even be bigger than your average full tower.
It's bigger than mine, which is full.
Are you sure? Sure, it's not a mid tower.
Mine's full.
Okay, well,
I'm positive.
It's very large, but
it's a large black tower.
Black.
The Dark
Big
Tower.
Black. It's the Dark Tower.
Yeah. So yeah.
What about the specs?
Are we gonna do the specs? Go ahead, Jordan.
Just really
Okay.
Just because I feel like people will want to know.
I'll say the stuff that I got. So the power supply is 600B EVGA power supply. The hard drive is I forgot the brand.
Seagate.
It's a Seagate 2 terabyte hard drive, Barracuda.
And then it has a Intel. I don't know the name of the motherboard. It's an Intel branded motherboard, specifically for like it's like DB something something. It has a cool skull on it. You can't see it in your direction Colter, but if you turn it around so the mesh is facing you, when you turn it on, the motherboard has a red skull on the bottom, which looks pretty sick.
What?
Yeah, so it has that 16 gigabytes of RAM. It has a GTX 970, which is last year's. It's actually the most popular graphics card of all time, if you guys didn't know that.
Makes sense.
Discontinued now, replaced by the GTX 1060. And then it has a i7 2600K, which was a pretty top of the line processor a few years ago. And also, I didn't say this, but I overclocked that processor before, like, while I was using it. I think it's still overclocked, so you're even getting a more powerful, like, it's running at a higher spec than even the
possible.
Stock. Yeah.
Than even mankind thought possible.
But overall, like, that's a solid machine especially for running, like, games at 1080p 60. That thing will, like, kill everyone. It will completely run that, except for
it's a large black console.
Yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, I have that. We've been playing a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. We've been talking about this game since the inception of this podcast,
and now Colter's
and now I'm playing it. And I'll give my thoughts on it. Now, this game is shit.
Before you go on, I feel like our first match, or like first like night that we played, you weren't super in on it.
That's true. It's so this game is.
You made that clear.
It's I don't really even know how to preface the whole thing, but honestly, if I could boil it down, it's kind of just you running around for maybe a half hour, collecting supplies. That in the end won't matter because you'll be sniped from a direction that you have no clue. You'll just be killed, and then the camera will go up on top of your body. It'll be like, "You're dead." Not gonna say like where they came from or what in any way they killed you. So yeah, there's obviously much more to it than that, but this is definitely kind of a real, like, it's trying to be as realistic as possible kind of simulator of a battle royale situation where a bunch of people are dropped into an environment, like a post-apocalyptic environment, and then fight each other to the death.
Yeah. The immersion, I think, is one of its greatest points because, and that comes from, I think, mostly the sound in that game. It, like, when you're playing that game, and I feel like if you haven't already, you should play that game solo because that's a completely different experience than playing in squads. Like in squads, we're joking around and razzing each other, and we're all having a good old time. But in solo, no one's joking with you, and it's completely dead serious. Like you're like skulking around hallways, like creeping around, listening like as hard as you possibly can to hear like a gunshot or a footstep. And when you hear it, like your heart just races. You're like, I don't know where this guy is. I gotta find him. And that happens in squads, I feel like. But when you have people behind your back, it's not as
I haven't even
intimidating.
I haven't like really experienced that like supreme tension in squads that much. We definitely do keep it pretty light.
Yeah.
But I did play 2 solo matches, and they were a lot more intimidating. I didn't get like super deep into it, but the first one I played, I dropped into a very low populated like vicinity with not very many houses. So there were 0 guns in the first like series of houses. There was just like a machete.
It happens.
So I ran to the next group of houses, and a guy was there, and I saw him. He didn't see me, so I like got closer. And then I ran out a little bit, and then he saw me, and I was like, oh, and then I run back behind the tree, and then he ran away. So I got close to, like, the fence, the brick wall, and then I'm just waiting for him to kind of come out, and then I hear him come out, and then he comes around the corner, and I just start swinging with the machete, and then I completely miss, because apparently you have to be, like, literally touching his face for you to, like, hit him with the machete, and then he just destroys me.
The melee in that game could use some work for sure, because I've had that same situation. Like there was a time where the same kind of thing happened. I dropped down, couldn't find a weapon, but I did get a machete and I picked it up because machete is cool. And so like I was sitting on a building and some guy was next to me. I was like, well, this guy has a gun, what am I gonna do? I'm kind of like on a window or like on a balcony on a near the roof, and I see this guy open the door beneath me and go in. So I jump off the balcony and like get behind him and like start attacking him, and then he just turns around and kills me like instantly. I was like, that's like, it's like I should be able to. I should have gotten that guy based purely by my awesome tactic right there, but it doesn't usually play out like that.
Yeah, so it's definitely takes some getting used to, but it is addicting even at like when you don't really know exactly what you're doing.
I feel like
I don't know why exactly, but
it's hard to like pin down what makes that game like so. For me, at least, I know by now it's just like that that like feeling of, oh, there's 100 other people here, and like we've made it like this far up, we've invested this much time, like it's getting super intense here. Like the final match, like when you're in the top like 10 at the end and everyone's just in the field, and like it sounds really boring because everyone's just crawling around in a field, but you're on such high alert looking around. Like someone could literally be like across this like rock from me, like 20 feet away from me, and you couldn't tell because there's laying down and no one wants to make a move, and it's very just Gillies in the mist.
I think it's intense because of how bare bones it is. Like
it's a simple game.
It's very simple. There's nothing drawing your focus from the gameplay. Like the gameplay is front and center, and the immersion factor of it is the best part, because like when you see somebody in that game, it's not like in Call of Duty or like Battlefield where you see someone, you're like, oh, I'm gonna engage this guy. Like, I'm gonna get a kill. I'm gonna get my helicopter or whatever. It's like when you see someone, you're afraid. You're like, that guy is like, he could be across the field. And you're like, oh shit, there's someone like in that house over there, and you're like visibly like frightened of going into that part of the map because you know another human is there, and you know that they're on the same like wavelength as you are in terms of like being super alert and like ready to kill and like frightened and
like
everything.
Never in a Call of Duty game or Battlefield have I like seen someone and been like, I don't know if I should shoot at this guy. It's like in Battlegrounds, I'm like, am I gonna like, if I shoot at this guy and I don't finish him, or like I don't even get a hit on him, I'm gonna kill either me or someone on my team. Like I'm just gonna let him go. Just let him go. Yeah.
You're, like, in
people will just flood towards you, and like that's like there's a level of like strategy and tactics in that game too that is like just stimulates me a little bit more than Battlefield and Call of Duty at this
because
point.
There's so many different paths to victory. Like you could potentially win the match by not getting a single kill.
Yeah.
Like.
If you wanted to. Except for the last one.
Well, unless you're...
Even then, the play zone could kill someone.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
There's so many ways, like, you could play it a little cowardly, stick to the edge of the circle, just kind of, like, meet your way out, like, to the last round, or you could go guns blazing like we did that, like, a couple nights ago or last week or whatever, where just all of us were super aggressive and just went after people, like, purposefully. Yeah. And that was just as viable as like sticking to a building or like the outskirts of a forest and just like hiding in the grass.
I've actually found that to be way like more fun now, to just be like, all right, let's kind of drop in an area where it's not perfectly safe, but it's not one of the major cities where there's like literally 50 people dropping next to you. But like you drop in and you know, like, okay, I see people over there. We need to get our stuff and we got to go take them out. Otherwise they're right there. And like that just makes for the start of the match more fun. It kind of just keeps the adrenaline level a little high, instead of just like, because there was a match with Colter and I where we're like sitting in an apartment building and we're like, okay, let's wait here until the circle moves and then let's run. And we know there's people around us, but we wait there, and then like the second we leave, like everyone else is there too, and we just get killed instantly. It's just like, well, why we should have just gone out there and like done some business. But certainly a viable tactic to wait. But I've certainly found that like going for people like has been worked well for the most part.
I can't wait till I can competently kill people, because
that's an important ability to learn.
As for now, I can't really.
I was gonna say that this is a very... I commend you for jumping in and playing with us, because this is a very odd game to learn just PC gaming on, to learn mouse and keyboard. It's basically like jumping into Counter-Strike to learn how to play on mouse and keyboard, because you have to be super precise. Like, controls are a little convoluted. It's early access, so it's a little buggy, a little bit janky. Like, you know, you've been playing on gamepad for...
I'm curious to see how you've like felt. Like, what was your like prior experience to playing like a first-person shooter or like any other game on PC, or if there was any?
So I have gotten some games on PC before. I don't think I've ever gotten a first-person shooter, but I've played just a tiny bit of like Overwatch on PC and stuff, and I have experience playing games on PC, and I've played like a fair amount of just, you know, kind of walking simulator type games like the Stanley Parable and stuff like that. So I have experience just like straight up playing that, but I don't have experience in like, and I played Hotline Miami too, so I also have some experience with like, you know,
like precision,
twitchy
like
precision, but this is definitely the most complicated game I've played on PC thus far.
I definitely have, because like I think for me, like over the last like year, I would say I've kind of moved primarily to the PC, like playing most of my games. Because like I would play Overwatch all the time on console, and then I would go play on PC, play like Battlefield or something, and like I was like, oh, I'm like bad at shooting people. Like I'm not used to being like this awful at like just aiming. Like what's wrong with me? And then, but like I've played enough now that I feel like I'm getting relatively confident again in my aiming. But it takes some getting used to for sure.
I've played PC even less than you because I'm relatively new. My PC is like around a year old now, I guess. But it actually helped playing Overwatch because I know how to play that game on console like the back of my hand, and then all I had to basically do was learn like the actual controls, like the buttons and the keys and everything. But like I know the lead time on guns, and like I know the abilities and all that kind of stuff, so it actually, I think it's helpful, because if I had just jumped straight from like playing anything on console into PC and be like, oh, I'm gonna play Battlegrounds and it's my first game, like I wouldn't know what the hell I'm doing. So like good on you for jumping in. And
I've been wanting to do it for a while, so and it's fun. It's good.
I don't think we've had some matches that were pretty tense, but we haven't had like, I don't think you've truly experienced fear. Like you don't know what fear is yet.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the time it's either like we get killed super quick, or like we get killed like near the end, but we have like no idea where it came from. And like I've definitely haven't been really in a situation where it's like, oh, okay, there was something near the end of the game that was difficult, but I was able to overcome it. It's like so far I haven't really been able to overcome something without like you guys like really helping me out and like doing the brunt of the work.
Right, so. But like there's multiple reasons for that. So
I'm not saying that I'm shit because of that. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, so I feel like just obviously practice makes perfect, but I think you're only getting started with it, because there's much more to it than we've seen. I think it'll be fun. We should next time we play, we should do a not so subtle stream.
I agree.
If you guys want to know what this game is that we've been talking about every single time, you can watch our streams.
Yeah, we play it pretty frequently.
It's not so subtle.
We play it, I mean, almost every night.
Yeah, that was It's Not So Subtle. I was talking over you a little bit, so just want to make that clear.
Really quick, just talk a little bit about what games we've been playing. Jordan, what have you been playing?
Okay, so I've still been playing Tekken here and there. I try to get a little bit of playing time each, like couple days or something. Still really enjoying that. I've recently realized that the character that I'm playing, Devil Jin, is incredibly difficult to use, as like, because my like strategy for those games is like find a character that I think either like looks cool, or I've like kind of like how to play just from like basic training or whatever, and then I've like looked at videos and kind of just like seen what people are talking about on like forums and stuff about like the combos to do, and like as I was trying to do them, I was like, man, this is not easy at all. But I had that same experience with Street Fighter, and like it takes a lot of practice in those games, so I've been doing that frequently. I feel like not as much Final Fantasy 14 as I've liked, mostly because I was waiting for Dane, but still hasn't quite caught up to me yet.
I will.
So
I haven't had a long time to play it.
And also the thing is, when I play Final Fantasy, I have to be in kind of the zone when I play it, because the character that I'm playing is a paladin, which is a tank class, and so their role is to like attract enemies' attention and like keep the damage off your teammates and like hold focus on enemies and stuff. And like I can't like be like off my game while playing that. I can't like be like listen to a podcast or like do whatever like I'm playing. Like it requires like my full attention, and I like that about that class and stuff, because it's rewarding for me. But it doesn't mean it's hard for me to just hop in there real quick for like a minute and be like, oh, I'm just gonna like do this thing real quick, because like it's hard because there's like pressure for people like relying on you, and like that's fun but stressful. And then also I've been playing quite a bit of Tales of Berseria, which has been pleasantly surprising me. Funny writing, just like charming characters. As I progress through the game, a lot of the locales have been varied more than what I've seen. And also coming from the previous game, like Tales of Zestiria, a lot of the cutscenes were very like stiff and like just like two people talking back and forth. And these ones are a lot more animated compared to the last one, which is fun to see. Also, the story in that game is like getting surprisingly dark, which I knew going in, but I wasn't ready for kind of like where it was going. So that's been fun to see.
Dope.
Interessante.
What have you been playing, Dane?
Also a little bit of Tekken. I've been learning Sergei Dragunov, a new character, which is much different than Leo, who I was playing previously, which means probably nothing to most people who are listening to this podcast right now, but it's helping me learn a little more advanced techniques like countering and like how to like transition into like grabs and all kinds of weird ass stuff that I didn't know was possible, and maybe is only possible with this character, I don't know, but that's been fun. I've actually been doing a lot of mobile gaming. Like I've been playing a lot of Clash Royale, which Jordan, you used to talk about that, or you talk about that frequently.
I've been playing that game every day of my life for the last 2 years.
Yeah, so I just started playing that a lot, and it's very addicting. I just got to Arena 3, which is noob status still, but I did my first microtransaction.
Already, huh?
Well, because when I got to Arena 3, they were like, oh, welcome to Arena 3. Get the Welcome to Arena 3 bundle for 99 cents. And they're like... and
gotcha.
It was 99 cents. I'm like, 99 cents isn't that much. Like, that's okay.
That's how they get you.
And then they're like, but it's 5 times the value. You get, like, the gems and, like, 1,000 coins, and then you get, like, you get a chest.
Yeah, 5 times the value. You can't pass that up.
5 times the value. It's 99 cents. Like, why would I not do this?
Just wait till it's like, oh, it's only $20. It's 50 times the value. Why not get it?
So I bought that, and that it's fun because I've been like switching cards out of my deck, like in and out of my deck, and like it's a pretty simple setup, but it's actually really fun, and people on there are really nice. Like I'll always say like good luck and like well played and all that kind of stuff, and people aren't like, you can't actually chat, but people don't seem to be like dicks or anything on
just
there.
Wait.
Like I'm sure, and I'm in a clan, the Uchiha clan, and the people in there are really cool too. They've been donating cards to me. And I'm not a weeaboo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, that's been fun. I completely forgot that I bought Final Fantasy XII on Amazon, and it showed up yesterday. And I played it today for like 2 hours or so. That game is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, honestly. I played a ton of that game when it came out on PS2. I actually think that was the last PS2 game I ever played before I retired it and got the PS3. But
it was very close to the end of the life cycle.
Yeah, that was I feel like that's a severely underrated Final Fantasy game, mostly because it came out at the end of the PS2's life cycle and people were hyped for the PS3, and it kind of like got brushed under the rug. But
I've heard
it's a good one.
It's a little divisive too. I heard a lot of people don't like it.
The combat I think in that people don't like, and also like the leveling system. Because the combat is kind of like an MMO. It's not like turn-based or
it is,
like
but
action. It's weird.
Do you remember if they have the Gambit system?
Yes.
They did, okay. So that is actually really cool. So basically, Colter, since you're not aware of the Gambit system, what the Gambit system is the game is turn-based in the sense that you select you select the enemy you want to attack, and this is like paused, so the action is paused. You can rotate your camera and like look at a bunch of enemies. So let's say there's 3 enemies over here. You can pick which one you want to attack or what you want to do to them, and then you will go to them automatically, and there'll be a little meter that fills up, and it's called active battle time. I think that they had that in like Final Fantasy 4 and like 6 and all those. But once the meter fills up, you'll do whatever action you choose. But the cool part is that you can do these things called gambits, where you can, either for yourself or your team members, you can give them instructions based on like preset conditions for them to do. So it's like if one of the enemies is a fire type, and you have mana available, use a water spell or an ice spell on them or something.
Oh, like if-then like statements, but put into a video game.
Yeah, so it's like if they are below 50% health, use this move that does extra damage to them below 50% health. Or like if your ally goes below 20% health, heal them with like this spell or this potion or something. So you can like create strategies for like on the fly too. Like you in the middle of battle, I think you can change it. So like if you're fighting a boss that requires a different setup or like more strategy or offense or something, you can just change up those statements and those setups for each of your characters, which it's actually really cool.
Yeah.
And the music has been this could anger some people. I didn't play the original one, so I don't really know the original score, but they did a completely remastered like orchestral score for this one. That's just really awesome, actually. Like it's like really, really good music.
I've heard good things about the music. I don't know if they changed it from the original one, because they did that for Final Fantasy X, and that actually upset people because the Final Fantasy X soundtrack is like highly regarded, and it was modified in the remaster. But
the remaster is not good.
I'm not sure if the Final Fantasy XII remake changed it or just like re-recorded it and like or what happened.
One of the tracks that plays in like the main. I don't know if it's the capital city, but the starting city is like an underground. You're in the underground sort of like slums, I guess, and it plays like this. It's like a kind of like a dark, like almost scary song, but it's like desert themed, so it sounds like Arabian Nights like esque music, and it was really catchy, and I was listening to it for a while because I was doing some side quests. And it got stuck in my head, so I actually looked it up on YouTube, the original version of it, and it sounded very similar, but it was with more like digital aspects, I guess. This one that they recorded is like all orchestral, so it like real instruments as opposed to like simulated violin sounds or whatever. So it sounded different, but better, I guess. I don't know, like it didn't change like the foundation of the music or anything, but yeah, the music's great. I mean, that's just typical Final Fantasy fare. Like I expected that, but I'm doing the English voice acting because I looked up actually which one people prefer, and they said that this is one of the best Final Fantasy dubs, and the voice acting is actually really good for most of the characters.
I feel like a standout character was like Balthier. He's one of the
gunslinging dude.
Yeah,
he's good.
That game takes place in Ivalice, which is like where Tactics Advanced takes place, which is I like that version of Final Fantasy is probably like my favorite incarnation of it.
Me too.
I just like the themes of it. They don't like go too hard onto like Final Fantasy 15 level where it's just like this is basically like Midwest America and like weird like techno future city, or like the like super far like early Final Fantasies where it's just like magic. This one has like that cool like Final Fantasy twist of high like fantasy kind of stuff, and then like a little bit of like futuristic but not crazy town. It's just like like future magic.
Yeah, like it's cool. Almost like steampunk kind of, but not even that extreme, because first off, the opening cutscenes, and they're always good, but this one was so fucking crazy, like honestly ridiculous. One of the opening scenes, it's not really a spoiler, it's just like a war going on, like a battle, and there's on the ground there's just like foot combat, like foot soldiers going at it with like spears and shields and like axes and stuff, and they're in like, it looks like it could take place in like medieval times, but then above them there's like spaceships like having dogfights, and there's like crazy camera angles like tailing right behind a ship like Star Wars style, where it comes in and you see the lasers shooting down and it zooms past, and then it cuts right into a battle. Like it just seamlessly transitions into a battle on the ground where they're just fighting with swords, and you're like, what the hell is happening? Like there's like lasers and like, you know, like giant battalion like spaceships fighting each other, but then people are like clanging like metal against each other on the ground, and like it's very crazy.
Yeah. Also, this Ivalice has my favorite like Final Fantasy. They're not necessarily enemies, but they're kind of just they're things in the world, which are the judges, which are always these like, especially in Final Fantasy 12, which are like these very imposing looking like magistrate like guards that are in ridiculous armor, and they're always the like, especially in this one, they're very intimidating in the game. They look like fantastic in this one, which I really enjoy.
It's really, really cool so far. I was gonna say that what was I gonna say? Damn it.
I don't know. Only you can answer that.
No, I had something. I forgot. It'll come to me.
Colter, have you been playing anything else quickly?
No.
Strictly Battlegrounds.
I actually don't think I have been playing anything else. Yeah, let's pick a film, boys.
Oh wait, I have one thing to say. I remember what I was gonna say. I've heard a lot of people compare this plot to Star Wars. I don't know which Star Wars, maybe Episode 4, because the themes of the Empire, like the actual Empire in Final Fantasy XII, are similar to the Empire in Star Wars and like things like that. But one thing that really stood out to me is that the very opening of the game, like once you actually get into the shoes of Vaughn, who I assume is the main character, you're in the capital city, and there's a bunch of like species living in that city, like a bunch of lizard people and like Moogles and a bunch of stuff like that. But they're all it's very reminiscent of Star Wars, how you kind of, it feels like you're in a weird,
they're in like a bazaar, and like it's just cool
land. And they're in a market, and it's it looks like they could be in like Arabia or something, but everyone's going every which way, and like they have the classic scene where like the stormtrooper-esque guys, like the soldiers, go up and they try to like start shit with like this buff alien guy, and he just turns around and looks at them, and they're like, oh man, like that guy's crazy. So it has that like, it has that really cool like sci-fi / fantasy element that you don't really see a lot in Final Fantasy, because most of the time those guys are just relegated to being like enemies in the field that you fight on your way to like the human city. This time, there's a bunch of weird ass species are all in the same city, and it's. I was pulled in right away. I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, the Evolus version of Final Fantasy is for sure my favorite, just because of that.
It's so cool.
It's way different than a lot of the other stuff. Also, quick side note, there is I don't know if it was a rumor or confirmed, but in Final Fantasy XIV, they're supposedly having a non-expansion, but kind of just like a little add-on called Return to Evolus, where they're having Final Fantasy XII and Tactics Advanced themed like dungeons and quests and stuff like that, which excited me.
It's also probably my favorite art
that
I've seen recently from Final Fantasy, because it looks it's very unique. You can see it and instantly see like the rabbit people and be like, okay, that's Final Fantasy. Like I
used to have the guidebook for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and the front page and like the back of the front page had a picture of a judge, which was one of my favorite looking Final Fantasy art pieces ever.
No, I'm excited to play more. Very excited to play more.
Hope you guys like Final Fantasy.
I love it. Most of the time.
All right, boys. Is it that time?
It's that time. What is it?
Alright, so I'm not picking it because I picked Donnie Darko. Now, who picked? I think it's Dane. Who picked Spirited Away?
Dane did.
Did you pick Spirited Away?
It's Dane. FFXIV. Yes, it's Dane.
I picked Spirited Away.
What's in the bag?
Alright, he's reaching in the bag.
What's in the bag?
So here's what's. Shut the fuck up. So here's what's happening here. We wrote down 50 at this point. Like 47 or something like that. Movies that we wanted to watch. They're on little pieces of paper within that bag. He's gonna pull one out, and we're gonna watch it next week and review it. Please. If you want to, you can watch the film.
Please watch it.
Yeah, and you'll know what we're talking about.
And maybe you can get up off your ass and leave a comment about your thoughts on the movie, so we can interact with our viewers directly.
Sure.
Or stay on your ass and do it.
Or you can stay on your ass and do it.
You do however you want.
What you do with your ass, as long as you leave a comment.
It's the beautiful thing about the internet. You don't have to get off your ass.
You can be on your ass.
I'm just jingling, all the time. Wrangling this piece of paper.
Pull it out.
Wrangling.
I kind of hope it's a wild card.
Alright,
It could be something crazy like a Disney Channel original movie or a wild card or a Serbian film.
How have we not pulled a Disney Channel film yet?
I have it.
There's only 4 out of 50.
40 now. It's Xena the Warrior Princess.
Xena,
the Space Princess.
The Raid.
Oh, cool.
Oh, man. I gotta say. I'm gonna say it. You know what? I'm gonna say
this film is bad.
This is one of the films I'm most excited to watch on this list.
Last week I said, hey, I hope we draw an action movie like The Raid. And hey, you know what? Boom. Wishes do come true. Thank you.
This is one of the first ones I think we put on the list.
Probably, yeah.
Guys, this is going to be a solid action flick. Everybody can enjoy it, so watch it. God damn it.
If you're a fan of the aforementioned John Wick, and or a fan of seeing a lot of just crazy men do real martial art moves on each other, you should watch The Raid, because apparently it has all that.
Sick.
Guys, if you want to... Sorry about that.
Wow, that was loud, Colter.
Going to murder someone's eardrums.
If you want to follow us, you can do it at It's Not So Subtle on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can send us an email at It's Not So Subtle... Wait, no. You can send us an email... Well, I guess that's true. At It's Not So Subtle at gmail.com.
Rewind.
One of them is an at the word, and one of them is an at the symbol. So
okay. So what's the email address?
It's not so. Yeah, Dane, shut your fucking mouth for 2 seconds.
What? I'm not doing anything.
You laughed really loud.
Distracted.
You stopped me.
Okay.
It's not so subtle at gmail.com. That's where you can email us. Okay. You can follow us on Twitch. That is also It's Not So Subtle.
As
Jordan.
Well as our Twitter and Instagram.
I said that.
Did you though?
I
Are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
I think that's it for all of our... Dane, I'm going to hurt you. If you're not watching this on YouTube, watch on YouTube, and the channel is just called Not So Subtle. If you want to watch this on iTunes or Google Play, you can do that too, and you can rate and review it. Please do that. We have 0 so far, except for Jordan.
Subscribe. That's not me.
Jordan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and various video game networks as The Killamilla. You can also find me on Twitch. I do stream most of the time, at least when we're playing. I'm hosted on our Not So Subtle page. That is also The Killamilla on Twitch. If you want to watch my anime reblogs and GIFs that I sometimes create, that is Tenzo-Taicho on Tumblr. I'll have you know, guys, I reached a mark. My most popular Gundam, it's a mobile suit GIF, 2,000 notes.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. It's it's pretty popular.
Your nerd level knows
no
bounds.
People love it. It's just.
Which one is that?
It's a mobile suit. It's a Xeon Federation suit that is cocking his shotgun.
Girl of the 21st century.
I've seen that one.
In space.
In space.
Which the people love.
At night.
In a space station with Xenon.
At night.
Whenever you see a shotgun,
it's always night in space.
A shotgun being cocked is just
Maybe
like, it's the coolest thing.
The mobile suit.
Dane, where can they find your mobile suit ass?
Well...
Side 9.
Yeah, no, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, all at Lane to Point. You can also find me on Christian Mingle, LinkedIn, Yelp, Urban Spoon, and Pornhub at Lane to Point as well.
Urban Spoon?
Urban Spoon is sort of like Yelp, but
But no one knows what it is?
But no one knows what it is. But cool. I'll be on there.
I think it had a thing where you, like, it randomly selects a restaurant for you to go to. That was, like, its claim to fame.
Yeah. Oh. That's nice of them.
Restaurant roulette, if you will.
It's like, nope, don't like that one.
Honestly,
don't like Wendy's. All right, yeah, let's go to Wendy's, guys. I got Wendy's on here, so
I really do think everyone should add me on LinkedIn. Christian Mingle as well. If you value Jesus or God in your life at all, I'm the man for you.
Why do you have LinkedIn and Christian Mingle right next to each other? No, nothing.
You want to get down to business, or you want to get down to business?
If you want to get down, yeah, exactly.
With Jesus.
Hey, there you go. With Jesus. Jesus will be with us every step of the way. So next week, I was actually thinking of reading some Psalms live on the podcast.
Cool. Call me when you're done.
I can allow this charade no longer.
This isn't happening.
Guys,
Nothing
I've
here
never
is
been to
Christian
church.
Mingle.
If I stepped foot in one, I'd probably burn up. So I'm not
nothing against religious people.
No, nothing against them at all, except I don't like any of them.
Okay.
So
digging a hole.
No, I'm not on Christian Mingle. I'm definitely not on LinkedIn, but I'm on all those other ones, including Pornhub. So
and Urban Spoon.
And Urban Spoon.
All right. Well, you can find me at Colter Potter on Twitter and Instagram. That's it. Bye, everyone.
Farewell.
You don't have any like funny bits to do?
I don't have any funny bits.
Like at all?
I really liked it in Spider-Man when it was a real man. Tobey Maguire, he danced for real.
I like Toby with his black hair.
When he was in the black suit, was that real?
The only time he was ever real to me was when he did the sick piano riff and then beat Mary Jane.
Was that real or CG?
It was CG.
That was as real as it gets.
I'm scared.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Dad!
Cheese nips are better.
Dad! Dad!